All right, well, that little red sign at the top means that we are live. And if you're tuning in early, I'd be surprised. We have the NBA draft going on, but I am joined today in a special ITL episode. We're going to cover some NBA draft react, and we're really excited to watch along the draft with you guys. Welcome to Into the Lab podcast, sponsored by the Mothership Blue Collar Media Group. I am your host, Ernest Silva, at the Sport Gene or at Into the Lab Pod. If you're following us, you already know what that's all about. I'm joined today by the great and powerful Andrew Kahn at Boomtown Pod. What's going on, bud?
Boy, it's a hell of an intro. You got to really live up to that one. Nothing, man. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been on ITL. It's been a while since I've been quiet on my own podcast. So, just we've been busy at Old Blue Collar, so we're trying to get some stuff done. And you know what? I was on the draft show last year, so I figured you might as well make it 2 years in a row, and I might as well continue with the streak. Right? Can't get off a heater.
That's absolutely correct, and we're excited. No, last year we were hyped, right? We were joined by LeVar Ball. We had a couple of college athletes with us. We had several NBA pros come on, and this year it's more of a headquarters special. As you know, we have the BCMG retreat going on. I am spearheading that, so I've been very much involved with Blue Collar in the last well, I guess month and a half now. So I'm excited to bring you some of the latest and greatest news. We have 2 picks off the board, and we're going to talk about those in just a second. But just to remind everybody. We do have the BCMG retreat down in beautiful South Texas, August 19th through the 23rd. That is right. You can catch some of the greatest shows and people around down there, and we'll put on that sponsor bottom line down there in South Texas. So excited for that. Andrew, rumor has it you're going to be attending. Am I right?
If the birdies are flying, then I will fly as well. Let the rumors soar, baby. No, it's actually the first time I've been able to leave from Canada, I guess, in so long, man, with everything that's going on and the debacle that was a pandemic and how that was handled. But I'm double vaxxed, passport in hand. I do believe San Antonio, Texas beer it's the best, apparently, so I'm ready to try some of it.
Well, you're going to have a late night beer, that's for sure, as soon as you fly in. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to meet you in person, excited to have a really good time. So shout out to you and Josh making that trip from Canada. And hopefully we catch Josh on here as well. I know his show's tonight, so hopefully he pops on here. But let's jump right into it, right? We're a little behind. We had some technical difficulties, which always happens, right? But picks are in. And of course, all you people who know I'm a Rockets fan, you know my main pick is in. So let's talk about that first one, though. No surprise, the Detroit Pistons pick Cade Cunningham. I think I've known that probably for 6 or so weeks, ever since they landed in the NBA draft lottery. Your thoughts on Cade Cunningham and him going to Detroit?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't think this is really a surprise to anybody. This was more so, you knew this was going to happen. I mean, Detroit has been a god awful franchise for quite some time now. They've lost a lot of great character guys in and out of that lineup for a very long time. And now they're going to finally get a centerpiece that they can literally build a franchise around Cade Cunningham. If you have missed or have never seen Cade Cunningham play, and I'll say this to our boy Davis, who's a gigantic fan of Cade Cunningham, and got to see him in person and play a couple times. Detroit's getting a special player. He's an all-around ball handler. He's got a great shot. His stroke is incredible. I think he went off for about 40 points in one of the conference final games. So, I mean, really, Detroit's getting a hell of a pick here. Detroit, again, like I said, has been really, I don't know, it's just been a really hit or miss squad for probably the last 15, 20 years, to be honest with you, besides the days of Rasheed Wallace and Ben Wallace and I guess that era with Chauncey Billups and those guys, Rip Hamilton. I mean, it's been a long time since Detroit has tasted success, so I'm very happy that they landed Cade Cunningham tonight.
And while we're talking right now, just to stay up in real time, breaking news, Russell Westbrook has been traded to the Los Angeles Lakers officially in a package that sends Kyle Kuzma and a future pick to Washington. So Russell Westbrook, third home in 3 years. Just to interrupt this Cade Cunningham breaking news, but the Russell Westbrook breaking news. Andrew, does that big three move the needle for you in the West?
No, because who gets the ball still? That's always going to be essentially the case with Russell Westbrook as a point guard. Obviously, they have become legitimate. I mean, I think after their playoff run, they realized that a banged up LeBron, a banged up AD, they need some guys that can move the ball. And obviously that, I don't know. I think the verdict was out on Kyle Kuzma. I think everybody realized that he's not the player that they kind of wanted him to be in LA. And now he's going to go to a Washington team where he can be the man. Because, I mean, it sounds like Bradley Beal essentially wants out of Washington as well. So, I mean, Kyle Kuzma is going into a situation where it's like, oh, so I'm the face of the Washington Wizards all of a sudden. So, I mean, it's probably good for his career. It'll probably be good for him. This big three that we see in LA, I enjoy it. I think it's good. I know one guy from the Shooter Shoot podcast is probably thoroughly excited about this accusation. I don't know. It's a different situation, man. I think that the Lakers are significantly better. Now they have somebody who can open up the point a little bit better. I mean, LeBron can take a little bit of time off and realize that he doesn't have to do everything on that team, right? And I think that's one of the major issues with LeBron is that for the last few years with the Lakers, it's kind of been the LeBron show. I mean, AD's been a great complimentary piece, but LeBron's had to do it all: point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward. Like, it literally seems like he has done every single thing on that roster. So be very interesting to see what happens here, but I think they get significantly better today. It's a big trade because initially I saw the reports for Montrezl Harrell, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, a first-round pick, and another future first-round 4. And I was like, that's a lot to give up, especially because Montrezl Harrell is a very good supporting piece. So I was like, all right. So if it's only Kuzma, I think that's a great win for the Lakers.
Completely agree. And my 2 cents on the Russell Westbrook trade is that you're going to need a lot of space. So everybody signed for vet minimums and everything thereafter is going to have to spread the floor as much as you can, including big men. So if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, you're going to really have to focus on spreading the floor with very minimum cap, or you're paying luxury by far. 121 million just with those three players. For perspective, that I read earlier in a tweet, 127 million was the entire Rockets roster last year, and we had 30 players play for us. So just keep that in mind. If you're Los Angeles Lakers, it's LeBron, AD, and Russ as your new big three. Congratulations. In real time, though, Evan Mobley goes off the board at number 3 to the Cleveland Cavaliers. We'll go to number 2 in just a second, but Evan Mobley, the future phenom that everybody claims to be, that could be a possible KD-esque player, goes off the board. The big man from USC, 7-footer, comparable to Chris Bosh, Anthony Davis. Some say KD. I love Evan Mobley. He doesn't love Houston, so no surprise he didn't go at 2. But I do like his fit with Cleveland. He already wears the colors. The man is literally a walking bucket. Andrew, is this surprising for the Cavs? I think so far it's kind of on par. Top 3 players, top 3 picks.
And exactly drops where I want it to be from a number 4 spot, and I know exactly who the Raptors are about to take. But I mean, realistically, I mean, this is a great pick for the Cavs. A guy who's got a sweet stroke. He's got a great shot. He's got even better positioning. He's a big, tall forward, 7 feet. I mean, this is something that the Cavs can really build themselves around. All these rumors about, potential guards leaving, this might actually be like, hey, we got somebody that we can build around, and we're a young core. The Cavs are obviously in a complete rebuild mode. So, great pickup. This is going to be good for them. Gives them a little bit of length where they don't have it on the court.
Completely agree. The question comes to mind now: what happens with Jarrett Allen and that contract situation? You got Jarrett because you were going to go forth and play them together. What does that do for you now? And how does Evan Mobley fit that roster? Other news though: Ricky Rubio will join Evan Mobley as the newcomers on the block, as Ricky Rubio was traded from Minnesota over to Cleveland earlier today. So a brand new core there in Cleveland as they're ramping things up. But I think more moves to come for the Cavs as they continue forward on this path of what they want to do and what they're building there. Switching back to Cade and talking about the conversation around Cade Cunningham, I do want to say that Cade Cunningham is really going to fit that young mold in Detroit. And I think you were onto something when you talked about the Wallaces and Chauncey Billups era, how they were all coming up at around the same time with their contracts. It's going to be the same in Detroit. Had a terrific last 2 drafts, and then in comes Cade Cunningham. He's going to fit that mold there. Some people have compared Cade to being the best all-around player coming out of college or coming out of a draft since LeBron and other players of that caliber. I don't think he's quite up there, but I do think he's the safest bet at a number 1. And so those are my thoughts with Cade. The big story, though, was what's going to happen at 2. And given recent news, we all knew that Jalen Green or Evan Mobley was going to be the pick there at 2. But the Rockets go with Jalen Green. And I got to admit, I am not upset about that, right? Being the guy that's covered the Rockets and going with that mold, Jalen Green's kind of been the new swag, right? And so I'm kind of excited to see how he fits that mold. Kevin Porter Jr. with Jalen Green as a backcourt, both at 6'5" or high or taller, and with the wingspans. That's a pretty young and dangerous core. Thoughts on Jalen Green to Houston?
I think you guys got the perfect player. I mean, realistically, I think this is exactly what the Houston Rockets wanted. the Houston Rockets have always had a problem with a little bit of swag on their roster, right? And I mean that in the best sense possible. They lack that guy who brings essentially asses in the seats, right? Like James Harden was great in that aspect because when James Harden was on the court, you paid attention to him. When they got Chris Paul, you paid attention to what was going on. Jalen Green is that player. He did it in college. People would literally try to watch his games because he's such a great, diverse player. I'm really looking forward to him with the Rockets jersey. And like you said, you guys got a lot of young components going on, a slew of draft picks. I mean, this team is obviously, again, and as big as your coverer, you understand they're in the full rebuild mode as well. So, I mean, picking up Jalen Green and setting up your franchise with him and Christian Wood, I think you guys are in a really nice spot right now.
I have some breaking news with the Raptors number 4 pick. I'm not sure if this is who you thought it was going to be, but it is Scotty Barnes at number 4. He goes number 4 to the Raptors, and Jalen Suggs is clapping and excited, but I don't know. I think a lot of people had Suggs going to the Raptors at 4. I'm kind of shocked here. How are you feeling, Andrew?
Just another day as a Raptor fan in 2021, let me tell you. I mean, this is just the ongoing saga of a Masai can make a trade happen. So if I'm the Raptors right now, Scotty Barnes is a great pickup. I mean, I'm not taking Scotty Barnes out and saying it's like a schlub of an overall 4th pick. I mean, people thought we reached on Chris Bosh at 4 way back in the day too, and Chris Bosh ended up being a Hall of Fame basketball player. So I'm not saying it's not possible for Scotty Barnes to, have a great career in Toronto, because right now it's another team that's completely rebuilding. But I thought a backcourt of Malachi Flynn, coming up, Kyle Lowry's done, Freddie VanVleet, Suggs. I mean, that looked really nice to me. I was like, okay, nice little team. Plus, you've heard a lot of rumors about potentially Pascal Siakam being traded, which again tonight might happen, folks.
True.
I think Pascal Siakam will probably get dealt to the Golden State Warriors at some point tonight. It's been all of the talk throughout town, and it sounds like it's James Wiseman and a first coming back the other way. So, I mean, let's see, because of course I think Golden State's picking at roughly 19. So I don't know. You might see Suggs get taken off the board here, and you might see the Raptors do a bit of a trade, and there might be something that comes through the feed. But I mean, I don't know, man. Again, Scotty Barnes is a hell of a pickup. I mean, I'm okay with that in every regard. But yeah, it seems like the obvious choice for me was Suggs to take here. There have been rumors all week that he might have not been wanted by Toronto, and I was kind of confused by that myself. But I mean, I thought they were going all young and a decent backcourt with Flynn, like I said, VanVleet and him. I like that package a lot. But welcome, Scotty Barnes. Welcome to the Toronto Raptors, where they don't know if they have an identity at the moment. So
that's Scotty Barnes to me just feels like one of those young Kawhi Leonards that has a ton of in-depth potential and a super high ceiling. But who knows what ends up happening in that regard. I'm going to guess right now that Orlando goes Jalen Suggs. I would be shocked if he drops to the Thunder. And for that purpose, when it comes to Scotty Barnes.
Orlando.
Go ahead. You there, Andrew?
Yeah. No, I think Orlando just said that they're very excited that this is happening.
Yeah, absolutely, right. And Scotty Barnes does everything for Toronto except for probably bring a shooting edge there. I think that fit is going to end up being really great. Shout out to Fun and Rana for being a part of the audience, part of our stream team. I think that's going to be a really good fit there in Toronto. But I feel like Jalen Suggs is just that guy for number 4. When it comes to other trades and just catching up since we came in late. When it comes to other trades on the day, we did miss, but Milwaukee has traded into the first round. They are now the 31st pick in the draft. They've traded with Indiana. Indiana trades back in the draft to get 2 second-rounders. Excited to see what Milwaukee has planned. They obviously want to add to that depth and core that they built over their finals run and championship season. Andrew, here if you're Orlando, right, and you have Suggs on the board, you have Boo Knight, you have Kuminga, right? Where would you lean? I mean, is it pretty much Suggs? I thought that was the big 4 of the draft.
Well, judging by, I've kind of got it going on in the background, but judging by what Suggs got hit, the clapping and the family going a little crazy, you'd think that this is probably going to be likely him getting picked. I mean, money for Orlando, another team that's in a complete rebuild. This draft is very significant for a lot of rosters, and I think Orlando's one of them. And I think Suggs falling to them really right now at 5 is massive. And they're going, all right, another one of those organizations that fans in the stands last year, lack of attendance, not a very good team on the court. This is going to help them out drastically.
Completely agree. If this does go Suggs to Orlando, which I'm starting to get news outlets tweeting out, so I'm thinking this is where it's going to go. Suggs is a terrific fit in Orlando. You've got one guard that can't shoot and a guard that shoots really well, so you can just put them on the court together and figure out that sequence all together. And plus, you have the wonderful Jonathan Isaac down there, which I thought was a deal breaker if Evan Mobley was still on the board. And if you're Orlando, right? You have 2 picks in the top 10. So you can really boost up your core at the top. And I think Jalen Suggs is a fantastic way to start it. Other news that's happened across the board, other trades, if you're not familiar with them, we could definitely provide you on here. Just want to give a shout out, right? We are brought to you by the Blue Collar Media Group. That is right, BCMG, hashtag BCMG. If you haven't heard of it before, go check it out, www.bluecollarmg.com. That's where you can get all the latest stuff. Buddy Hield, still a king. So like he's staying there, not literally a king. He's just staying on the Kings right now in Sacramento. So excited to see that. But of course, we want to call out a couple things. Landry Shamet is going to be heading to Phoenix. He's been headed to Phoenix off of a trade today, and Philadelphia has gotten into the second round trading with New Orleans for cash considerations. Very exciting stuff happening around the NBA. Probably one of the most trafficked. If that's even a word, one of the most trafficked draft nights for the NBA, and lots of people moving. People still on the block though. Bradley Beal, Ben Simmons, Eric Gordon, all names that have been floated around. Do they move tonight, and for what? That's more to come there. But the pick is in for Orlando as that's coming in. It's been confirmed. The Magic's number 5 pick will be Jalen Suggs. So Jalen Suggs getting the nod for Orlando. And as we're watching the screen right now, you know, Orlando's through a complete rebuild. Right? They have Cole Anthony, who was an outstanding rookie last year, right behind Jae'Sean Tate, and you know, had Vucevic shipped, they had Aaron Gordon shipped, and now they look at their young and their youthful with Markelle Fultz, and now it's going to be Jalen Suggs. Andrew, Orlando's on the rebuild path, but it seems like it's going to be that long path, right? We don't think Orlando's going to be making moves anytime soon to be jumping into playoff mode. I would say it's probably about a 3-year process. What do you think?
Yeah, I was literally just about to say, I think this is probably about a 4 to 5 year process for this organization. If you're a fan of the Magic, just be patient, because obviously you know something is happening here. Like last year, you saw a lot of departures of some very big names, Vucevic being probably the biggest one, the hashtag free Vucevic movement. And of course, the Aaron Gordon dealing to Denver. I mean, this is definitely a young, up-and-coming roster. I think right now Jalen Suggs fits perfectly. He's going to obviously play year one. There's no doubt about it. He's NBA ready. And I think, you know, Cole Anthony's injury at the end of the year last year kind of sucked for him, but he did play significantly well. I mean, I will give Cole Anthony that. They have a great point guard in place. Now they have a great shooting guard. I'm looking forward to seeing what Orlando does in the next couple of years, because I think they've got a lot of nice little plays, like a lot of good little pieces in place for them to really have a significant future. But I do think, I agree with you, it's about a 3 to 5 year wait for this. So if you're a Magic fan, just hold tight. It's going to get better before it gets worse.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm excited to see what Jalen Suggs brings to the table. Matter of fact, when the draft order was announced and I knew Cade was going 1 and the Rockets didn't grab that pick, my first reaction was, we got Jalen Suggs, right? That was our guy. I felt like he was the most NBA ready, next in line to make an impact on a core roster. Jalen Green obviously has the same feel. I just felt he was a little bit more raw when it came to the ability of incorporating onto an NBA season. But you know, I could be wrong, but Jalen Suggs is a two-way player. Again, another safe lottery pick that I feel is going to have a lot of potential. I think his floor is something like a George Hill, which is not terrible, but I think his ceiling is something that could be of a Chris Paul, of somebody who could be absolutely amazing on the floor. And if you're the Houston Rockets, you didn't need that, right? You have Kevin Porter Jr., who's going to step in that point guard role, and Jalen Suggs can be the future point guard somewhere else. So I'm excited to see what Suggs does for Orlando, and that moves us on forward to Oklahoma City, where Oklahoma City has tons of options at this point. And here's Just Straight Clutch coming in also, another stream team member. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for joining the feed. But you have OKC now on the board. The Thunder's needs really are based around let me see. They have a small forward need. They're looking at I mean, anything really at this point, other than Shy. Really, the Oklahoma City roster is kind of spread open. Andrew, if you're Oklahoma City, I'm guessing you go forward, right? You thinking Jonathan Kuminga, Scotty Barnes, or do you reach on Davion Mitchell?
I think you reach on Davion Mitchell. The only reason why I say that is because Oklahoma City is known for reaching. And I mean, and typically it's in the past, it's kind of panned out for them. To be honest with you, they've reached on a ton of players in that organization, and it's worked out well. I mean, I've been hearing Shai Alexander's name in almost every single trade rumor, so I don't even know what's going to happen there. They might flip him in the pick. Who knows? Like, I've heard a ton of stuff going on in that camp, but that would worry me a little bit. But I mean, Oklahoma City, another one of those teams last year that obviously announced to everybody when they made all of their pick trades. Essentially, they're like, hey, we're completely rebuilding. This is another organization that's about 2-3 years away from being a very strong contender. The younger you get, and especially you're finding it out in the NBA, the younger the crew, the better
Might
it
have
is.
lost.
Am I still here?
Yeah, I might have lost you there for a minute there, Andrew, but we get what you're. Yeah, you're still here now. You're still here now. And Andrew Constant providing the intel analysis on Four Wheels, and we appreciate that. But I tend to agree, right? Shai has been offered in different trade packages, but it was to jump into the lottery, right? To grab one of those top 3 guys.
Yeah.
And maybe they had a slight hope that Suggs falls to them. You know, maybe they had a slight hope Suggs falls to them.
Well, what I noticed,
but I think that if you are OKC, go ahead.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest problems that right now the Oklahoma City Thunder are facing is that sure they got Shai Alexander as a great piece and Lou Dort's been good for them and stuff like that, but it's like, where's the identity really going to lay with this team? So I think this pick is actually a lot more vital than we want to say it is. But I just going forward, they have what four picks in the next 2 rounds here.
Yeah, they have. Well, no, they're not that vast in their picks. They've got 3 in the next. Well, they have 3 in the first round by itself. So
yeah,
they're pretty stacked there. I wouldn't be surprised if they go small forward here. But again, I think they could fill a whole bunch of holes with this draft. They're going to need to roster wise. So let me give you a choice. Right, you have a choice here between you're looking at the board, you say Scotty Barnes is a power forward, Jonathan Kuminga is a small forward. If I dive down a little bit, point guard, shooting guard wise, we look at Keon Johnson or Josh Giddey. Those are kind of the guys that you're seeing at. I give a dark horse chance to Josh Giddey because that would be an OKC pick if anything. But if it's not Josh Giddey, then maybe they take a flyer on Davion Mitchell. I mean, he's there, right? In my big board, he's number 7. So I don't know what kind of big board OKC has. I'm going to say Josh Giddey, dark horse. Davion Mitchell is my runner-up, but probably going with like a Kuminga or a Barnes with this pick. The pick is in. We're waiting for the announcement right now. Andrew, let's just remind everybody that we are the Round 1 NBA Draft Command Center tonight for Blue Collar Media Group. Excited to be joining ITLs, having a special draft coverage. But don't forget to catch us in our retreat down in beautiful South Texas, August 19th through the 23rd. We can catch all of our shows live, all of us meeting in person pretty much for the first time, except for maybe a few of us. And so a lot of great action coming up in August for Blue Collar Media Group. Let's dive over to the pick, though, as the Oklahoma City Thunder are picking their 6th pick of the 2021 NBA draft. As I see Adam Silver's probably going to be approaching the podium momentarily. Josh, give me your last chance. Who you think they're going to take?
Did Josh jump on, or is it just me?
Oh, sorry, Andrew. Who do you think you're going to take?
No worries. I was like, maybe Josh jumped on the stream because we were talking about it.
I was actually messaging Josh on the side, so the name got stuck in my head. But Andrew, who do you have? Last try.
A point guard. Let's see what they take. I think they'll take. I take your stretch pick. I think they might go with here.
And Adam Silver making the announcement right now, and it looks like. Hey, it is Josh Giddey. That was a completely shot in the dark. I just saw his name travel down my board. Josh Giddey is a fantastic player. If you're not familiar with his story, fantastic guy to follow. Really great personality. I strongly suggest you do. But yeah, they're showing the stats on the board right now. Australian Rookie of the Year. Fantastic player, two-way player for in Australia, playing in Australia. And I just so happened to come across some of his videos and some of the work for Josh Giddey, and said that guy could be a potential lottery pick. I don't know if you're familiar too much with Josh Giddey. Are you, Andrew?
Yeah, well, he was playing with LaMelo Ball, right? So LaMelo literally said that Josh Giddey is NBA ready, and he noticed that when they played over Ball in Australia as well. So, I mean, it's a big thing, and I mean, when you got a guy like LaMelo Ball, who's rookie of the year, comes out and says that Josh Giddey's a very good player and a good point guard, that should excite a lot of fans coming in OKC right now.
Yeah, and the updates coming in is that Josh Giddey had a conversation and a private meeting with the Oklahoma City Thunder. What I'm seeing reports in from Shams, and that's big, right? When you get a private workout, you get to really see what the fit's going to be, and Josh Giddey and Shai are the future for Oklahoma City, and we'll have to see what he brings to the table if he is NBA ready. We saw what Lamelo brought to the table, right? So. I obviously don't want to put the two on the same pedestal, but who knows what happens in that situation. And I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about it. And if we saw anything, Jae'Sean Tate, who was a fantastic rookie standout for the Houston Rockets last year, came from the Australian League, was the MVP, did phenomenal here in the NBA. So if that shows you anything, then that's exactly where I would be going with it. Andrew, Golden State goes on the clock here, and I gotta admit, I don't really care who they pick, but for those who do want to watch, I think at this point you're looking at something around the Jonathan Kuminga, Scotty Barnes area, so a forward, because we think Wiggins and Wiseman are out of here. What are your thoughts?
Well, we also think that there could be a potential trade, so stay tuned to this one for sure. Because, again, what I have seen from reports from absolutely every single person and media outlet has been James Wiseman and that first overall pick going to Toronto for Pascal Siakam. So we'll see. But don't forget, folks, Pascal Siakam just had a shoulder surgery as well. So I don't know if that value or that goes into consideration for them picking him, because he's not going to be start ready for the year. And does Toronto completely say fuck it at this point and completely rebuild and have James Wiseman as that piece in that first, right? Like this is a big pick, actually. We'll see it happens here. And that's not me just being a boneheaded Homer fan. This has been the reports for a couple of weeks now. So
Yeah, that and it's not crazy to think, right? Down to the wire, right at the deadline, that you see a trade happen, that you see Wiseman and a first go over to Toronto. Siakam is on the Warriors, and the Warriors get their big trade that they want. They're showing the past trade, which is how Golden State's even in the lottery. Andrew Wiggins, the first round pick, which is the 7th overall, and a second round pick that was already traded to OKC, was received by the Warriors. D'Angelo Russell ended up with the Timberwolves. And so, personally, I hate seeing Golden State in the lottery, because it's just so cringe, right?
it gives you the heebie-jeebies because they're finally falling off the wagon.
Right. And then you see them just revamping and rearmoring. If I'm Golden State, though, I'm going to go with a forward here. I'm going to take the best forward available in my book. That is Jonathan Kuminga, or Scotty Barnes. That's where I'm going with this pick.
Scotty Barnes gone to the Raptors.
I'm sorry, yeah. Jonathan Kuminga or Keon Johnson is where I'm going to go with this pick.
Yeah, I think Kuminga's probably the right choice to make. He seems like a Golden State kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you put him in that lineup, he fits in right away. But yeah, I don't know. They're such a young and up-and-coming team that, like, I wouldn't be shocked to see them try to do something here that just blows us out of the water. Like, hey, we got Pascal Siakam, so next year we have Klay Thompson, Siakam, and Steph Curry again. So wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, not a huge shocker to me as well. But we'll see. From what I understand from the rumblings is that they have their guy, but they're not sure if they're keeping the pick, which is, again, nothing to knock home, right? We already know that's Golden State's MO. So let's just see if that happens. Again, we are looking forward to a lot of different names coming across the board. That includes names like Bradley Beal and Eric Gordon, and other names that include Buddy Hield, and all these names that are big around these rumors. If you had to pick one of those guys to fly off the board, who is that for you, Andrew?
Well, I'm going off the board because I think Kyle Lowry is more than likely the first guy to get picked up by somebody during draft night, because I feel like he's I feel like he fetches in at least a second round or a first round pick. And obviously the Raptors have, after the Freddie VanVleet signing, kind of said, well, the writing's on the wall for Kyle Lowry. I mean, he owes us nothing, like he's been great in the organization, but his name has been in rumblings for a very long time. I'm very surprised when the Lakers took Westbrook because from what I had heard, LA was in on Kyle Lowry as well. They were in on DeRozan. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a Lowry DeRozan reunion somewhere. I have no idea what it's going to be because I've heard a lot of rumors saying that, DeRozan was interested in LA coming back to, his hometown. So I really don't know. Do they go to the Clippers now because the Lakers seem to have their kind of setup? It sounds like Kawhi's going to resign. So you have like a big three of Lowry, Kawhi, and
Yeah. Yeah, you're cutting in and out, Andrew, just as a heads up. You're cutting in and out. But I'm completely with you. I think what you're saying is that the Lowry DeRozan reunion would be fantastic anywhere. Who has that space would be the question. And of course, Kyle Lowry is a free agent, so it'd be a sign and trade option with Toronto to keep his bird rights. The pick is in. Adam Silver is at the podium, so let's see who this is. Give us 30 seconds. And it is Jonathan Kuminga at pick number 7 in the 2021 NBA draft. The Golden State Warriors get their forward. I think that just means more trades are on the way. I think that's the pick to have as a trade asset, in my opinion. So Jonathan Kuminga off the board, played for the G League Ignite, played with Jalen Green for a while there. Absolute stud of a player. I can't rant and rave anymore about this guy. He was number 4 in the 2020 rankings, so right behind Evan Mobley. Guys, when it comes to this pick, I think Golden State hit the nail on the head. Jonathan Kuminga could be a bona fide star. Is there enough ball if everybody's healthy would be my next question. And what is this? It is a future replacement for Draymond Green. Yeah, Andrew, I lost you again. I lost you again in there. For Golden State, what they're pulling in with Jonathan Kuminga, we have a fantastic defender, somebody who really gets up when it comes to playing the game, and super athletic. And when you watched him and others on the court, he just stood out even at his youth. So I'm very excited to see what Golden State does with this type of caliber of player. The ESPN comparison is Jaylen Brown. I'm not sure if that's completely accurate. I think it's pretty darn close. Um, but I have to think a little bit more about where I feel Kuminga kind of ranges there. He's just a freak athlete, so I'm excited for Golden State and their future with that. Excited from an analyst perspective. Uh, just off to the side when it comes to the fandom part of it. But when it comes to tonight's coverage, Andrew will be right back. He's had some technical difficulties, so we'll run through it tonight. Up on the clock is the Orlando Magic. And so we're excited to see what the Orlando Magic are going to be pulling. They already had their first pick tonight. That was Jalen Suggs. Fantastic pick. Jalen Suggs fell to them at 5. And we wait now for what their pick is going to be. Let's circle back to a pick that we really didn't dive into too much because we had some technical difficulties. And that was the Houston Rockets, right? The Houston Rockets at pick number 2 chose Jalen Green. And Jalen Green, I felt, was the best off the board. In my opinion, might have been number 1 on the board. A lot of people have Cade there. I do have the bias, though, when it comes to the Rockets pick. So I'm going to try to stay as unbiased as possible. Jalen Green has those gaps and holes when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, but he brings a whole offensive perspective. Reminds me a lot of the ISO incorporation to his game, like James Harden, but has the ability to explode. This is a guy who studied only Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and only them in their games and wanted to mimic that and be that relic for his own time. And that's somebody you really want to bring into your team who brings that mindset, right? That Mamba instinct. So very excited to see what Jalen Green does for the Houston Rockets and what that continues forward with the future there. Now, the question mark for Houston going forward is John Wall, Eric Gordon, Danuel House, all these trade targets, all these tradable assets. Do we want that to be part of the future, or are we going to get rid of them? And really, it comes down to a contract situation with John Wall. I don't know if there is any sort of negotiable terms there with anybody. Again, that's going over the Houston Rockets pick at number 2. We're bringing Andrew back onto the feed as we await for Orlando, who's picking their second player within the lottery. They went with Jalen Suggs first. Where do you think Orlando goes for their next pick here at number 8?
You lose Vucevic, I think they go big here. I think it's time to grab a big man off the board. What do you think?
Yeah, for me, I mean, if we look at available big man, you have people like Jalen Johnson, who was a big storyline in college for what he did. Franz Wagner is somebody else that's on the board. You also have Isaiah Jackson, so lots of blue collar potential, but you also have Franz Wagner in there. If it's me, you go with something that's proven from a blue collar school. Something like from a Duke or a Kentucky would probably be the better mindset for Orlando, the safer pick. But I'm going to see if there's any leaks out as Adam Silver walks to the podium and calls his pick. Let's go ahead and let Adam Silver make this announcement.
Should be an interesting pick for the old Orlando Magic right now.
And there we go, Franz Wagner out of Michigan, which, again, shocks me. It's not the safe pick. It's actually a gamble there. I think the kid has tons of potential, but again, that Michigan product has not really worked out in past years. Franz Wagner, 57 games of pro experience in Germany. He has tons of potential. He does have he does have a brother in the NBA. I'm reading these stats as they're coming on the screen, but it's distracting. But when it comes to Franz Wagner, if you watched him in tournament play, fantastic being on the court, right? He draws the defense to you. He still has the eyesight to find those passing lanes. He's just a big that does everything that he's supposed to. 12 and a half, 6.5, and 3 when it comes to points, rebounds, and assists. I think he's just a solid big man. What are your thoughts on Franz?
Hey, I said they would go with a big man here, and they definitely did. This is a great chance for them to build this roster up. Franz Wagner, good pick. Like you said, though, a little bit skeptical because of the way that you said, the way that schools or the Michigan schools kind of planned out a little bit. But Franz Wagner is a great pick. This team needs a big. Vucevic was that big guy that they had forever, and now he's gone. And now it's kind of like like we said, it's going to be about a 3 to 5 year process for this team. So Franz Wagner is going to have nothing but time to improve his game, get more of a jump shot attributed to his game. I think is going to help him a lot. Being a little bit more aggressive on the rebounding side of things too. And I don't hate this pick for Orlando. It's a risky one, but I don't hate it.
I absolutely agree. If there was somebody to take a gamble on the lottery, this right now for me is the biggest gambling pick is Franz Wagner at 8 for the Orlando Magic. I honestly think he's almost the poor man's Vucevic coming out of college. I just don't know how much I trust that type of player. They have not worked out, right? You look at the Frank Kaminsky's of the world, you look at the Sam Deckers, just not that type of style play hasn't worked out, and so we'll have to see if that translates. Because then you have the Markkanens of Chicago that's kind of worked out. And I guess if you're on the Nikola Jokic train, right, your MVP, he kind of has a similar style there. So it really kind of depends on how he fits in the system that's incorporated in Orlando. But we'll see how him and Suggs can incorporate into that system for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what the Magic do. I mean, they're not going to put a team on the court that's going to wow you right off the get-go. That's for damn sure. But I mean, they're making some interesting moves tonight, and I'm okay with where they're sitting. But the roster kind of looks a little different for them, as compared to years, because the Magic have been, in that Atlantic division competing for a little while, and now it's just it's a crapshoot for them. It's going to be, like I said, 3 to 5 years, but great pickup with Franz Wagner for sure.
Absolutely. This is Ernest So with the Interlap Podcast, host of the Interlap Podcast with Andrew Consutton on Four Wheels, providing his analysis as we cover the lottery picks here in the 2021 NBA Draft. We have a couple of picks left in the top 10 before we let everybody enjoy themselves and listen to NBA Draft coverage. As we're heading to these final 2 picks with Sacramento and New Orleans, no crazy surprises other than Suggs at 5. Maybe some people didn't have Franz Wagner going at 8. But you have Sacramento or Sacktown that usually blows his pick. So let's see what happens here. Didn't with De'Aaron Fox, but who do you have Sacramento going after?
Do we see a Buddy Hield trade before this happens? I mean, Buddy Hield's name has been involved in every single rumor that I have heard today. And I know that I just think it would be silly to get rid of Buddy Hield at this point, because Sacramento is actually trying to build something there. You know what I mean? Like, Aaron Fox is unreal. You got Buddy Hield. Like, I think Sacramento, for the first time in forever, have actually been trying to build something a little special here. But it's a finicky situation. And I feel like if you're throwing Buddy Hield to the Wolves already, I don't think that looks good for Sacramento. This team has struggled, folks, for so many years now. I know they want to draft, but maybe what they fetch for Hield is great. I don't know. There's been packages surrounded. I've heard Montrezl Harrell. His name keeps coming up in reports. The Lakers picks. I don't know. What do you think they do here?
I think you finally get the guy I've been preaching for about 3 picks now, right? You finally get Davion Mitchell off the board. I mean, that would be the right pick for Sacramento. Explosive, something on the court that can add that extra effect to De'Aaron Fox, and I think it'd be the right pick for here. Knowing Sacramento, they'll overthink it. Maybe go with Keon Johnson or Jalen Johnson, one of the Johnsons here, and try to play the best player on the board for them. But I think Davion Mitchell, he plays the point guard, shooting guard spot. I'm looking at my big board over here, and he fits, right. Sacramento right now needs a shooting guard. They have roughly $30 million in luxury cap space to work with, so I would go Davion Mitchell here and write it out. That's your champion guard there, and he'll bring a champion philosophy with you to Sacramento.
Watch them take an European player that no one's ever heard of, because that's the Sacramento way of doing things.
It would upset me so much. I mean, at this point, I was hoping to say Davion Mitchell's name on this show, right? I said I would cover the first 10 picks and kind of enjoy the draft tonight. And at this point, we're hitting pick number 9. So if I don't see Davion Mitchell come out of Adam Silver's mouth right now, I'm gonna be so upset. Because I don't think New Orleans goes that route. I have my New Orleans pick lined up. But if he fell there too, I wouldn't be upset. Let's see what the pick is. It looks like Adam Silver's making his way on stage. Andrew, let's give it 10 seconds. Let's see what he says.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, there he is. Davion Mitchell, that's what it's about. The guard from Baylor. He makes a pick. I've already made a case as to why it's him, but it absolutely should be him. A fantastic player out of Baylor. Led the team. Was phenomenal on the court. Was clutch. Did the right things. He has basketball IQ weeping everywhere. Absolutely a stud. Guys, what do you think about this? I guess say guys, but Andrew, what do you think about this?
Well, speaking for the rest of the panel, no, I mean, realistically, I think it's the smartest pick they could have made. Again, we've seen them mess up this pick so many times in the past, where they had the better option and they always force themselves to kind of take a different route. And I don't understand why. Maybe it's just something in Sacramento water. Who knows? I don't get it. But they made the right move today. They're going to get a great player. They got a fantastic player right now. And this team continues to build. So now when I see this pickup, I'm like, maybe they keep Buddy Hield now, and maybe that name comes off the board and they build their big 3 now, and maybe this is the start of it. They're a very young up and coming team. I saw a lot of progress last year from that team. I mean, they were god awful still, but they're still making progress, which is awesome. I mean, Sacramento has definitely needed a team for so many years, and now you got 3 great pieces to do so.
Yeah, I actually think of it opposite. I think Davion Mitchell might actually kick Buddy Hield out of the rotation, and you want to get that contract off the books, and you want to push him over to a team that might need him, that needs his shooting. And appreciate all the shout outs. Angela, appreciate you coming on here. And Denise, hello Denise, good to see you. It's been a long time. But yeah, I'm excited for Davion Mitchell. I believe he has fantastic potential. They're comparing him to Donovan Mitchell. That's a good comparison.
It is.
Same shooting style. They have the same type of dynamics. He is just a dog on defense. He's the guy you do not want to match up with. So yes, I am very excited for this pick for Sacramento. The right pick finally for Sacramento that I like to see. I think him and De'Aaron Fox could have a valuable future there in Sacramento. And so that brings us to our final pick coverage of the night, which is pick number 10 and New Orleans. New Orleans, they need some stuff, right? They've made some trades. They've made some recent trades. Just want to quickly give a quick reminder before we go over our final pick. This is brought to you by Taquito Express, and that's going to be one of our main dinners down in beautiful South Texas, August 19th through the 23rd. But Taquito Express, all you can eat tacos for $8.99. very excited to go visit Taquito Express. Andrew, I gotta admit, how many tacos do you think you can actually eat?
We're going with 15. I'm not eating that day.
Wow.
I'm literally gonna do nothing but fast so that the gut is ready to explode into massive taco overdrive. But I am excited about it, man. They make. I was looking at their menu, and I can only see pictures, right? I can only see those little things, and I'm like, oh damn, this place looks unreal. So very much looking for them. They've been a great sponsor of ours here at Blue Collar Media Group. So can't wait to support them and see if I can crush the Con Sutton 15 challenge. That's what we're calling it.
And I want to make a clarification here. I completely forgot, and I don't want to disregard what you said. Con Sutton Challenge. I'm really excited about it. But and there's my mother, Doreen. Hi, Mom. It's good to see you. Thanks for your support. Not afraid to call my mom out on my show. But I forgot. New Orleans traded this pick, so this pick is actually Memphis's number 10 pick, right? So Memphis
Correct,
is
yep.
on the clock, and so we have Memphis picking number 10. But excited. Yeah, I'm excited to see that challenge. All you can eat tacos at Taquito Express. There's going to be 20 of us there. I will not complain about that. I'm excited to see what that challenge is. And that may be filmed. We may have a taco eating contest, to be completely honest with everybody. That may end up happening. I'm hearing that the pick is in. And so I'm trying to see if I can get any sort of inside news on who it is. And we'll see what happens. But when it comes to the Grizzlies, right? We're looking at the Grizzlies. Yes, they traded away Valanciunas. They bring in Steven Adams and I believe Eric Bledsoe. So what does Ja need there in Memphis to really kind of move the needle?
I think he needs another all elite shooter. I really do think that's something that he needs. I saw it last year. You know, Ja is an incredible player, and he can carry a team. That's for damn sure. The kid's ready to be an NBA All-Star. I think he is, but I think he's ready to take the next step and be an elite player in this league. But I think he needs some more, some complementary shooters that can really alleviate that pressure. And I see that they take Zaire Williams, which is absolutely tremendous.
So Zaire Williams is going to Memphis. This is a reach for me. I don't
It's
have
a reach, but
Zaire high at all.
I had him listed at 15 on my projection board here.
I have him listed as 25.
Wow. So
yeah, he's really low for me. So I am not as high on Zaire Williams. I don't know what the reaction is around Twitterverse. But I am not a fan of this pick. Matter of fact, there are probably, I can name at least 5 guys by memory who are better for this pick, but I guess that's not why I'm in the NBA front office. I will say I just saw this run across my board, but Bouknight still not picked, and that's a shocker to me. I had him listed. Most projections had him in the top 10. I don't have him in the top 10. Matter of fact, for my projections, he's 17, but most people thought he'd be there. And for what some trade rumors have been coming out, that might be interesting. We might see something spark up. Zaire Williams, I give that a C grade. I know we haven't done 1 grade on this show yet, but I'm going to give that a C grade because I don't like it at all. What are your thoughts, Andrew?
Well, I mean, every draft, there's always one player that always gets reached on. And in our big boards, I was 5 picks. You were literally 15 picks away from having this player. And sometimes that happens, and that's okay. Sometimes it pans out, and sometimes it doesn't. I just thought they had a really big opportunity at this moment for the Grizzlies to establish having a need for a necessary shooter and helping Ja out. Because, again, as good as Ja is, you just got rid of Valanciunas, who is probably their best big, right? Like, let's face that. I mean, you bring in Steven Adams, who's not going to be as productive. He's slower than Valanciunas. His best years are already behind him. Eric Bledsoe kind of helps you out, I guess, being a complementary piece. Still not a significant upgrade. But I mean, realistically, what I'm looking at is a team with zero identity except for Ja Morant. Like, if you're expecting this guy to put up 30 and 10 numbers every single night, he's going to get wear and tear in that ankle. We don't know how bad it is last year, right? Like, that leg injury could be, pretty bad to say the least. But I thought they would go out and get a good complimentary piece for him. I just feel bad for Ja because this is one of those situations where you're seeing guys getting dealt, and I understand they're trying to move up. But if you move up, pretty much consensus picks are always going to be in the top 10. So the fact that you reach so hard on this it makes me wonder what's going on there because, again, there's only so many times where a superstar will stay on a team because he wants to stay loyal to a team. So I'd be very interested to see if Ja Morant says, all right, after that debacle, I'm out. Like it's just something that might happen.
Yeah, Dan and Isaac says Rockets will select Jericho Sims. That's my stepfather right there. Hey, he's absolutely right. I wish the Rockets would. I just think Jericho Sims is a second round pick.
Yep.
Hopefully they're not reaching at 24 for Jericho Sims. But with this, the more and more falling of Boo Knight and Kai Jones continues forward towards 20 through 24. Obviously, you guys know I'll be watching till the 24th pick, and then my draft is over unless the Rockets make an Eric Gordon trade. But hopefully that would be in the next couple of picks. Our coverage tonight was the first 10 lottery picks. We appreciate everybody who came out, who interacted, and was with us. Sorry for the technical difficulties in the beginning. Go over to Call Your Shot. They are live. They are going to be covering some of the great bets of the weekend. And we hope you guys have a fantastic weekend this weekend. Football's almost back. We'll cover some NFL news, a lot of NFL news next week. But Andrew, just want to tell you, thank you so much for joining tonight. Can you tell everybody where to find you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not the most insightful basketball guy, but I do follow it pretty religiously. So, yeah, you can follow me at the Boomtown Pod. Of course, that's officially our Twitter handle that changed from at AndrewCon for all the times that I've been on here. You can also follow us on Facebook at the Boomtown Pod. A lot of crazy stuff happening, man. We're gearing up for this big BCMG retreat. I'm excited as hell about this. We're actually, can I spill the beans on what we're going to be doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so Saturday night, August 21st, UFC Fight Night. This is very, very exciting for us. We are going to be holding a live stream party, watching the fights as they go along. We're going to have a couple of drinks, maybe a couple of leftover tacos if people don't finish. Who knows what's going to happen? But I am excited to tell you guys that we will be doing a UFC Fight Night live stream, and it's going to be an extremely great fight card. I'm really looking forward to it. So we'll have myself. I know for sure. I know Ernest will be floating in the background,
Oh, yeah.
making us margaritas, and I'm
Pina
excited about that.
coladas.
A
Yep.
couple of great tasting pina coladas, but we also have our camera guy Mark will be doing a lot of great footage for us. And then we'll have our friends Steve, Paul, Luke, and of course Josh Elliott, who's almost as big as a fanatic as I am when it comes to mixed martial arts. So yeah, no, guys, thank you again, Ernest, absolutely for having me on ITL. It's always a pleasure to be on here, man. And now that football season's on, I don't think there's going to be a Wednesday or Thursday that I miss in the foreseeable future.
Yeah, absolutely. ITL's Wednesday nights, guys. So don't get that wrong. We are not switching. We're not combining with Call Your Shot. So Wednesday nights normally we'll be back next Wednesday night with ITL's coverage of NFL preseason and your fantasy focus, as
Oh,
well as some
baby.
NFL trivia. So we are back in full throttle next week. So let's get ready and let's get prepared. And we hope you guys have a fantastic rest of the draft night and weekend. Have a great one, guys.